Hello YouTube and welcome to another Wildgate tier list. This is the one you guys voted for. This is the ship cannons, and this is, spoiler, going to be the most useful and the best tier list that I've ever made, because I'm pulling back the veil and the layer of secrecy that they've put over the game and showing you guys other important statistics and mechanics at play, like reload speed, sustained DPS, volley speed. All of that stuff is super important when you're thinking about how to use these cannons. And can you learn it over time while playing the game? Yeah, kind of, but you're never going to know for sure unless you dig into the numbers and the statistics, and that's what I've done here. As a reminder, if you're looking for a competitive group to play with, Monolith down in the Discord below is a group that we've set up for all the types of people that want to play competitive Wildgate. They want to still have fun, but they want to always try to win. We have 150 members or more in there now. We actually have more than 150, and we have a Commodore-only channel for you sweaty dudes out there. So if you're interested in finding a competitive group to play with, join Monolith down below. Let's get started on the tier list. We're going to start off with the base. And this is a really good item to just kind of show you what this chart means. In the purple, base is damage per pellet, or damage per shot. This does 1 damage per shot. It takes 1.6 seconds to release its volley of ammunition. And the DPS is a little bit funky. This is DPS sustained through reloads. So this is, you're on the turret, continuously shooting at the enemy target without missing, with 0 downtime, including reloads. So including reloads, it's at 0.62. The damage without including reloads, just hopping on and releasing the volley, is substantially higher for some of these cannons. But what we really care about is damage sustained and then reload speed. All of these are super important to know about, so I'm going to talk about them as we go through. But as a baseline, this is the worst cannon in the game, and that's good to see that the developers made the starter gun that comes with your ship as the worst. You wouldn't want to find an upgrade and have it be worse. So let's talk about the Thermic. The Thermic is one that I think is important to understand fully, because a lot of the rest of this video is kind of I'm gonna reference this a lot. What's important about the Thermic is it does half a damage per shot. It takes 5.7 seconds to release your volley. It has a respectable reload DPS of 0.91, which is one of the higher ones in the game, and it has one of the longest reload times at 5.3 seconds. So when you're looking at this chart and you're thinking about what kind of cannons I want to put next to each other, especially on a ship like a privateer, the most important thing is the reload speed and the volley speed. So imagine you're shooting the Thermic, doom, 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 you run out of ammo. It's going to take 5.3 seconds before you can start firing again. So if you look into the volley category, and you look at every gun that has a faster volley speed than 5.3 seconds, you know that you can hop on that gun and shoot that one as well. So I can shoot a base cannon, a scatter cannon, I can shoot a quad, I can shoot a macro cannon, I can shoot even a bomb cannon, or an Entropy. I can shoot all of those before the Thermic's going to reload. So when you're putting your turrets together and you're figuring out where you want them to be placed, this is honestly the most important on the privateer. Other ships are kind of negligible. You need to figure out how you're going to pair them together, and reload and volley speed are what you're thinking about. So if you had like 2 Thermics next to each other, you're not going to be able to man both of those guns at the same time. So you kind of want to like stagger them and move them around the ship based on their reload speed. So the Thermic by itself is super solid because of that. This enables multi-cannon usage by a single person. So from an action economy standpoint, you hear me say that all the time in all my videos. Action economy, action economy, action economy. It is amazing. So I'm going to put the Thermic in A tier. It is a very solid gun to pick up. I've never heard somebody be upset or frustrated when they find one. Thermic is great. Thermic is great. Next up, we got the scatter cannon. So the scatter cannon is probably the worst turret in the game outside of the base cannon. The base damage on the scatter is 0.5 damage per pellet. The volley takes 2.2 seconds to release, and the sustained damage, funny enough, is actually higher than the sniper. It's at 0.79, and the sustained damage on the sniper is 0.77. What it doesn't have going for it is range. The sniper can reach out and touch people at, basically render range, and the scatter spreads out the pellets. So one thing that most people don't think about or consider is that it's very easy to put some pellets on different shield segments. So let's say you shoot right at the cockpit, you might hit, you know, the cockpit shield segment, but have like 1 or 2 pellets offset on different shields. Shields regenerate health constantly with no downtime. The only time they're not regenerating health is when they're fully depleted or fully deleted. It takes a minute for them to come back, and then when they come back with full health. But if a shield is still in play, it's recovering health constantly. So if you're accidentally scattering your shots because it's a shotgun and you're firing medium range, you can actually do less damage than the base gun. So the scatter cannon I could honestly put into F tier, but if you're using it properly without dropping pellets, it's E tier. It is slightly better than the base cannon. Next up, let's talk about the sniper, because we just talked about it a little bit. The sniper just received a nerf. It no longer does double damage to hard points, which was so busted. It was S tier before, because you could just shoot people's engines out like with impunity, or knock out extremely important hard points with no problem. But the sniper cannon, I think, with that nerf, it brought it right into the middle. This is a great cannon to acquire, because the skill ceiling for this, the skill floor for this is it's totally usable. Anybody can hop on a sniper, completely understand how it works, and land almost every single shot, no problem. The problem is the damage per second sustained over time is terrible. It's at 0.77. It's one of the worst in the game. It's barely better than the base cannon at 0.62. So it's really not that solid. What a lot of people do with the sniper cannon is they drop it into the turret to start, and then they have a more potent weapon behind, because in the mid game and especially the late game, you have extra turrets, you have extra macros, you have plasmas laying around. So if you can have a sniper cannon in the turret ready to go for the initial volley when the fight starts, great. You have poke damage, you have chip damage that you can use while gap closing, especially depending on whatever ship you are. And if you wanted to swap to something more potent in the mid-range or the close range, like the plasma cannon or the thermic, it's just sitting right behind the turret. You have to hop off and swap it, so it takes 4 or 5 seconds to do that. But the sniper cannon is great for that, but it's not like a holy shit we found a sniper cannon when people find it these days. It used to be, but it's no longer kind of at that stage. And I like where it's at now. I think it still has a lot of use. It's still very potent at range, but close range, it shouldn't do that much. It's a sniper. Like, it shouldn't do that much damage up close. I like that it has a downside now. The quad cannon, another pretty simple one. This is going to go right into E tier, maybe even D tier. We'll throw it into E tier. It is barely better than the base cannon, does the same amount of damage, has the same volley speed. It just has slightly higher damage per second sustained, because you get to fire 1 extra shot per reload. It has the same reload speed and everything else. It's the same as the base cannon in every way, except for you get 1 extra shot, which does boost the damage on the reload by a decent amount, but not by anything significant. So it's right there. It's better than the scatter. We'll move it so that there's no confusion if people screenshot or skip to the end. But it's better than the scatter, but really not by much. Now we're going to jump into the macro cannon. So the macro cannon does extra damage. This one's a little bit interesting, because if you look at the damage per volley or per shot, it does between 4 and 8 damage per shot. You get 1 extra damage for every 150 meters of travel time, but the big thing here is it does double damage to shields. So this is a shield buster. People have no idea, because it doesn't say anywhere on the tooltip that that's a thing, but it's double damage to shields. So you can do potentially 16 damage to a shield, which is a lot. It's enough to instantly knock them out most of the time. And the volley speed is 4.2 seconds, so that's how long it takes to, it's 0 seconds. You can hop on the cannon, shoot it instantly. The DPS is 0.5 to 1 sustained over a reload, because it has one of the longest reload speeds in the game. This, again, like the thermic, allows multi-cannon usage by a single person. So the action economy on the macro is really what makes it shine. If you're sitting on the macro reloading it and waiting for it to shoot, you could honestly run out the door most of the time, rip off a couple double whammy shots, and get more damage in than it would be to sit on the macro and just man that by itself. So unlike the thermic, which is good at medium range and has higher sustained DPS, the macro it's honestly hit or miss. And one other big downside of the macro is the incoming projectiles can be shot. So they can be shot out of the air. That's one other big downside. And then another downside, some people think of it as an upside, depending on what your ship loadout looks like, the macro pushes ships away. So this can do, you know, at a minimum 4 damage, but it's going to knock ships away. So if you're playing with like a scout and the only thing you have is a macro, is it better than the base cannon? It depends. Are we trying to get close to them so that we can hit them with a plasma and a laser ram, or hit them with mines? You know, so you can do more harm than good. There is some cool like moments where you can kind of push people out of cover or behind cover or off of you if they have a laser ram. So like it's situation dependent, but for a lot of people they don't like that randomness. So they don't like that effect of like, you know, subtly pushing a ship around. What I can say is on the receiving end, if you're on cannons, let's say you're playing a prospector or something, not a prospector, a privateer, and you're trying to use your cannons to get on target, them constantly shoving you in different directions makes it really annoying for the pilot because he has to do constant corrections. So it's more of a positive than it is a negative in my point. That's why I put it in the B category instead of like C or D. But it's something that would be replaced by a Thermic or a bomb cannon or these other ones I'm going to talk about here. So that's the macro. The bomb cannon is a bit unique. The bomb cannon does the highest damage per shot at 8.0, but it requires somebody else to detonate the bomb. So you fire a very slow-moving projectile, which is why the privateer likes these so much. Fires a very slow-moving projectile that embeds in the ship. Somebody else can shoot that with a turret or even their personal weapons, which almost never happens. Begging people to do that, it never happens really. So they have to use a different turret to blow open the bomb, and then it's going to do 8 damage. So the sustained damage through reloads is really not that good. It's 1.0. It's better than a lot of different weapons. I take that back, actually. Looking at the chart, it's actually pretty good. It's better than most of the weapons in the game for sustained damage. But two huge downsides. Number one, they can shoot the bomb out of the air while it's traveling, and it's moving very slowly. And then number two, they can repair, often from the inside of the ship, to remove the bomb. So the bomb sticks through, and a repair gun will remove it in about 1.2 seconds. So if you're just shooting the bomb cannon and trying to detonate it with, you know, most of the guns in the game, it's not that good. It's like D tier. If you're in a scout, you can't even use it on the back because there's only one turret back there, so it's useless. So this is really, really dependent, ironically, on what else you have on the ship. Now, if you couple it with a sniper cannon, sniper plus bomb is one of the most potent combos in the game, because you have 1.0 DPS, 1.77 DPS. You have 1.77 DPS sustained because the instant that bomb implants on the enemy ship, the sniper cannon blows it up. They can't miss. They just rip it off and blow it up instantly. So with a sniper cannon, this is like B, maybe even A tier. But without a sniper cannon, or without being really close range and being able to use like a plasma or an entropy cannon to knock it off, or maybe even a thermic if you're close enough, the bomb cannon is like D tier, right? If you can, you will definitely have moments with it. It definitely hits super hard, but it's really dependent on the other weapons that you have on board. One downside is the volley speed. It says 4.2. That's how long it takes to charge up the bomb before it releases. So you can't just like shoot the bomb and then forget. You have to sit on it for 4 seconds, and then the reload speed is short enough that you can't like kind of multi-turret. You could do things like maybe the quad and get away with it, but it's really like you have to be using the bomb and you have to be using the other cannon. So that's that. The plasma and the entropy. Entropy is like stupid obvious. It's S tier. It's by far the best weapon in the game. Oftentimes, if there's an entropy on somebody's ship, the entire fight revolves around who has the entropy. So if you don't have the entropy, your entire goal in life is run away until you steal the entropy. That's it. The entropy has the highest sustained DPS in the game at 1.26. It can hit you at near any range because it follows the target's cursor. They can guide it around shields if they want to. It knocks out hard points extremely fast. And because of the high reload speed, the long reload speed, you can run multi-turrets on this with a single person. So the Entropy is just hands down the best turret in the game, like across the board for all those different reasons. It fires a ton of different pellets. I think it does 8 damage per volley. So it fires 8 pellets out, they follow your cursor and they hit the target. It does 8 damage when it impacts, so sustained damage is the highest in the game at 1.26. What most people don't know about the plasma, and I think this is the most slept on weapon in the game, is that the plasma does 1.23 sustained damage per second, and the Entropy does 1.26. This does almost as much damage as the Entropy cannon, but this is something you can find in a regular hardpoint. So because of that, I'm going to put this also in S tier. It's not as good as the Entropy, but it is damn near close. Damn near close is ironic because you have to be within 100 feet or 100 meters or whatever to be able to use the plasma, so that's the glaring downside. But like I said with the sniper, a lot of people just sit this behind the turret, gap close, and then they put it in the turret, and then all of a sudden the enemy team's like, holy shit, we're getting plasma'd. This weapon makes teams panic. The other thing that the plasma does better than the Entropy is it kills borders. So if you're within 100, you can see doors. You can see when people exit their ship. You can see them traversing to your ship. This thing is hit scan. All you gotta do is path over them for a split second and it kills them instantly. So the plasma is super good anti-board, super high DPS, super good against hardpoints, super good against borders. The plasma is like definitely S tier. Other than the Entropy, which can poke you at any distance, the plasma is the best turret in the game. You heard it here first, boys. You heard it here first. And we're going to wrap up the video, but as a reminder, Monolith down in the Discord below. Thank you so much. If you found this video useful, throw it a like. You can leave super chats in the comments. I don't know if people know that about YouTube. And if you stayed all the way to the very end, Baba Ganoush.